pull up, feel like more hop out. Shout out to my mother and my father, didn't pull out. MSG sell out, fuck these niggas yap out. Whips on whips, my ancestors got the backside.
Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I've had a lot of recently ghetto events happen to me in a course of 48 hours, and I was talking to like one of my friends about this, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is getting just as ghetto as it was working at Walmart. Those of you who did not know, I used to work at Walmart. I no longer do. Fuck Walmart, hate that job. But one of the reasons why I hated that job so much is because I had the worst supervisor, and it reminded me of this story. So hi guys, this is going to be the story time about how my Walmart supervisor made my life a living hell over a boy. Go ahead, like, subscribe right now, because I'm gonna do a whole bunch of these story times because it's crazy shit be happening in my life all the fucking time. But let's just get into it. So there's going to be a couple of names I'm going to be like just that I'm going to be keeping confidential. So for my supervisor, we're gonna give her the name, let's call her Como se dice Jasmine. We're gonna call her Jasmine, right? So I start working at Walmart April 2022. I was ending my last semester at TSU and I started working at Walmart. So we're gonna call this dude Edwin. So this dude named Edwin is a guy that I hit off with off the bat. And I remember this is the first conversation we have. I'm like, bro, we hitting it off real good. I was like, bro, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I was like, what's your sign? He was like, I'm a Pisces. I was like, ugh, yikes, that might be the red flag. I was like, no, but like, what else? First thing he tells me is, I'm fat phobic. Y'all probably like, what the fuck? Why would somebody tell you this at first? You know how like men snitch on themselves? We're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna come back to that later. So boom. Me and Edwin, we like get closer as like time goes on. Like, we're like co-worker buddies type shit. But then it starts to get to a point where when Jasmine is like the supervisor for the day, she always makes it a point to separate the two of us, which I always thought was really fucking weird. I was like, bro, like, he not doing like, you know what I'm saying? So boom. It's on a specific day that one of our other, supervisors, and she's like our really cool supervisor, like she real cool people. She is like supervising, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to push carts. I want to push carts. I was one of those girls who like always like to do physical shit for some fucking reason. Like if parents were like, or like if teachers were ever like, oh my gosh, I need a strong boy to help me. Don't even get me started, bitch. I'm picking all them bitches up with one hand. So she was like, oh my gosh, Kai, do you want to start pushing carts? Because we didn't have any cart pushers at the time. So I'm like, hell yeah. So I'm like, okay, who's going to train me to how to push these carts? Edwin is like, I'll train her, right? So boom, me and Edwin, we outside and we're like pushing carts, and we're just talking about some shit. I'm telling him about like, the life that I had before I moved out here, all that good kind of shit, right? And then we start talking about sex for some reason. I was talking about how I lost my virginity when I was 18 years old, right? And then like everything that had went down with my ex-boyfriend, all that good kind of shit. And then Edwin goes, yeah, I took a girl's virginity once. It was weird. I was like, what? He was like, yeah. He was like, we had sex in my car. And he goes, and she smelled weird. Put a pin in that. I want y'all to remember that. He tells me, yeah, she smelled weird, and then like I just told her to get the fuck out of my car. I'm sitting here like, that's not good, Edwin. So after that, it was funny as fuck because it's also a day. This nigga also had a Tesla too, and this is the same day that I was pushing carts. And this nigga, I knew it was his car already, but he was like, oh my god, look at that Tesla over there, that's so cool, right? And I was like, I mean, I guess, like, I've seen a Tesla before. He's like, you don't think it's dope? I was like, nigga, it's a Tesla. I've seen a Tesla before. I was like, why? And he was like, oh, that's my car. And I was like, nigga, he was like trying to like, he was like pulling for a compliment type shit. And like, I don't think he realized, nigga, if you have a fucking Tesla, why are you working at Walmart? But I digress. So boom, as time goes on, me and Edwin, like, he's not at work as much, and I'm like, do whatever. And I have this other coworker who I think is so cute. The first time I saw him, I was like, oh, he's cute. You know, I'm going, oh, homeboy look cute or whatever, right? And so when, you know, ever like I looked his way or whatever, mind you, this is like when I first started working here too. He comes up to me and he starts flirting with me instantly. And him and I like start flirting back and forth. He eventually gets my Instagram through Edwin, our coworker. We're gonna call him Santiago. So Santiago, right? We had gone on a date, and the date was kind of cute. It was a little awkward, and I ended up telling him, I was like, hey, I think that we should just be friends. He ended up agreeing. He was like, yeah, we should just be friends. Cool. That's what everything that happened. After that, I ended up going on my cruise. And so like, I'm going on my cruise. While I was gone, he had been coming over to my house. He had been taking care of my cats. Because you guys know Tofu and Miso, those are my babies. So while he's doing that, him and I are still texting every day while I'm on the cruise boat, because I ended up winning like free internet. So I was able to check in on him and check in on my cats and everything like that. And everything's fine, right? I end up coming back from my cruise. I end up coming back to work the next day. Homeboy almost doesn't even acknowledge me. Like, I was like, okay, he's acting weird. Then after that, my supervisor, Jasmine, was also acting really weird towards me. Like, she was being like real catty with me for no fucking reason. It started like when I would like be working, and like, you know, I used to work, you know, 9s to 6s or 8 to 5s or whatever. And at Walmart, you have this thing where you have 2 15-minute breaks, and then you have an hour lunch break. So you take a 15 in the morning, and you take your lunch break, and then you take a 15 in the afternoon. Mind you, I would be getting out Walmart at like 9 a.m. and wouldn't be going on my first 15 until 2:30 to 3 o'clock. Now, I'm no mathematician. In fact, a bitch like me can't do basic math. Let's see, well, that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 2. That's 5 hours I would go without getting a 15-minute break. And like she would never send nobody down there to cover me. Now, I remember one day I was talking to Santiago, and I was like, you know, Santiago, I was like, what, you switched up on me. Like, why are you being weird to me? He was like, oh, that's because you left, and da-da-da-da-da. He was like, nah, but we still cool, though. We still cool. Now, I look over, and I get to, oh, I skipped the whole part of this story. Anyway, sorry, guys, a little intermission. Your girl got hungry. Popcorn. So let me tell you, I forgot this part of the story. So, I started talking to Santiago, right? And I'm talking about Santiago to Edwin. And I'm like, Edwin, I kind of like Santiago, but I don't know if Santiago likes me. Edwin goes, you know, our supervisor, Jasmine, likes Santiago. And I go, she likes Santiago? I was like, oh, if that's the case, I'll step back. Like, I don't want them kind of problems. She gonna make my job a living hell. Ooh. Oh my god, my mic is on the floor. Hello, testing. Did y'all hear any of that? Basically, Edwin goes, oh no, Santiago would never like Jasmine. She's fat and she smells weird. The thing he tells me is, I'm fat phobic. And then Edwin goes, yeah, I took a girl's virginity once. We had sex in my car, and he goes, and she smelled weird. It was at that moment that 2 and 2 finally started equaling 4 in this bitch. Because it made sense, right? Y'all ain't put 2 and 2 together. Basically, Edwin ended up fucking Jasmine. And he was real fat phobic, but I think it was because he was projecting, because he was mad that he was actually attracted to her. I don't know. And then when he was telling me about them having sex, and I'm not going to get into the gruesome details of what he told me about them having sex, because I don't want to embarrass the girl like that. I'm sitting here like, okay. So I told y'all, when I get back from my cruise, Santiago starts acting mad weird with me, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck, bro? But then I start to see that him and Yasmin are kicking it with each other a lot more. So I don't know about y'all, but I like to mind my business. I'm thinking that him and her are now kicking it because him and I stopped kicking it with each other. So cool, right? But then she starts withholding breaks from me, sending me on my lunch break super late, being super fucking shady. Let me tell y'all this. One time I was at self-checkout working, and this bitch bumps into me hard as fuck. I'm talking rams my shit like I'm a fucking the matador and she's the fucking bull and I'm painted in red. That bitch was not playing any games. Doesn't even turn around and look back to say sorry. She bumps the fuck out of me and goes, sorry, and keeps on walking. I said, now if I lose my job for scalping this bitch and skinning her alive, I would be in the wrong. I would be arrested. So, it's whatever, right? So, Edwin also had a crush on another one of our co-workers. We're gonna call her Michaela. Michaela was this really sweet little girl, and you know, she was cool. Like, she had been nice to me since I first started working there. And her and I ended up clicking like instantly. Cool, right? And so she had this like terrible boyfriend who was like abusive and he was just like a terrible person. But Edwin had always liked Michaela. That's what he told me, right? So after Michaela and her boyfriend break up, she starts to give Edwin a chance. Let me tell y'all this crazy shit, because one day Michaela ended up giving me a ride to my house. She came and picked me up, and she comes to me. The first thing she says is, bitch, I got something to tell you. I'm like, what the fuck do you got to tell me? So this is what she tells me, dead ass, right? And she also recorded this shit too, which is what she told me. She told me that Jasmine pulled Michaela into the office. She fucking pulls Michaela into the office, and she goes, yeah, so I see that you've been like getting close with Edwin and everything, and I just want to let you know, like, he did me dirty. Bitch, go all the way the fuck to hell. Because here's the thing, she started off the conversation by saying, I know we're not cool, I know we're not friends or anything, or I don't know. I should ask Michaela for confirmation. Michaela, if you're watching this video, let a bitch know. She ends up telling her about how wrong he did her, whatever. Like, that was supposed to stop Michaela from going and fucking that nigga. You just jealous! Anyway, that's none of my business, though. So then, over time, Michaela starts to tell me that Jasmine starts to confide in her about shit. I know, it was really weird. She starts confiding in her about spending time with Santiago. Okay. Then she proceeds to, out of the fucking blue, she goes, I don't know how I feel about Kaya. She just like, she gives me like weird vibes, and you know, like, she keeps on trying to hit up Santiago. Oh, bitch, you're a liar. Mind y'all, I broke things off with Santiago because I just felt like things between us was real weird. Wasn't worth it. Not the fucking move, right? I was not kept on trying to hit up that boy. Also, around this time, I literally already had me a little yeah. So, at this point, I'm feeling like, bitch, is this bitch really serious? She's mad at me over a boy. So she also like continues to like do shit to piss me off. Cause like, I can't get really mad at her because she's my supervisor, right? So I can't be like, you stank bitch, I'm gonna beat your ass. I can't do that because I'm a supervisor. But at the same time, like, she was doing shit that was pissing me off. However, it wasn't shit that I could like tell on her for, because then she easily could have been like, oh, I forgot, or oh, my bad, or oh, and people be like, Kai, it's not what you think it is. Bitch, is exactly what the fuck I thought it was. Anyway, to make a long motherfucking story short, actually, this happened so long ago, I forgot how the story even ended. I ended up being really mean to Santiago because his little girlfriend was being really mean to me. I'm talking about Jasmine here. And I was like, bro, I don't want to talk to you anymore. Like, I was so mean to him for no reason. Santiago, if you're watching this video, I love you, boo. It's all love. Michaela and Edwin end up getting together. Oh, I stopped talking to both of them because Edwin ended up calling me a nigga. Edwin is not is not black. Also, so when we first met, I told him I don't fuck with non-black people who say the N-word. That nigga knew what he was doing. So I just kind of feel like, you know, I just don't really talk to them anymore. But yeah. Oh yeah, and then Jasmine ended up quitting anyway, and it was like, bitch, what the fuck was the point of that? And I think that her and Santiago eventually stopped talking, and I ended up quitting Walmart because I got sick and they was already fucking with me. And then also the person who that little I was talking about being with after Santiago, that nigga, yeah, I had to get out of there because bitch I had to get out of that bitch. Yeah, that story wasn't as interesting as I originally thought it was. Anything else to want me to talk? Actually, I might just insert clips from Walmart in here because why the fuck not? I fucking hate Walmart. Walmart was so nasty. No one ever get produce from Walmart. Walmart is literally the worst place to get produce from. I've seen moldy food, moldy everything. Literally, oh my gosh. And plus our bathrooms are fucking nasty. And shout out to all my old niggas from Walmart. Shout out to Eric, shout out to Diamond, shout out to Joshua, shout out to Gabriel, shout out to Miss Mary, shout out to Tiana, shout out to Terrence, shout out to Shamitra, shout out to Tiffany, hell, even shout out to Paul. Shout out to all my old niggas. And then also the people who are kind of mentioned in this story. I think the only person who I really talk to occasionally is probably Santiago, but other than that, fucking I know. Anyway, editing Kai, take us out.
I was getting some Pop-Tarts or something chocolate because the bus driver stopped. Crazy. He said he got on the bus. He stopped the whole bus. He goes, hold on. He came to me and I'm like, and he said, say something. And I said, what do you want me to say? And he goes, he said, he checked my ID at first. He said, let me see your ID. And he said, say something. And I said, what do you want me to say? God had me talk slow that time so the European would come out, you know. My father's raised in another country, so I'm an enigma. So, you know, I take after it, but anyways. But, and then he goes, okay. As soon as I talked, he's like, he gave me back the ID, got off the bus. Didn't even tell me what happened. I was like, I looked around and I'm like, there are white people on the bus besides me. I'm the fairest complected. I mean, I'm Latin. But anyways, that's how, girl, I guess some white people, they can tell that I'm not exactly, you know, like them. They start getting racist towards me. It's weird.
That's wild.
I mean, it's not as bad as they're racist towards others, right? Or half as bad, right? But still, I had people come up from Venezuela, get excited because they thought I was from Costa Rica. Lady, I'm like, me? This is before I found out about my complexion. I had a neighbor tell me from Louisiana, and she's like, girlfriend, you don't have skin like white people. She said, you got skin like something else, so you don't have it's like more Mediterranean. I talked to my other friend from another country. She says, yeah, you look like a light-skinned Mediterranean. Then I looked it up, my genealogy and all that. We're from like Sardinia, the northern parts, with the snow. It snows in the Mediterranean and Sardinia and Italy.
Hell, and one of my favorite coworkers got me sick, but y'all be posting y'all's boyfriends. Stop doing that. It's making me sad because they're ugly. If you like this video, you should like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post new videos every Friday. This is probably going to get uploaded on a Saturday. Why? Because it's Planet Kai and it's my world and you hoes are all just living in it. Make sure you tell a woman that she's beautiful because it's International Women's Day, bitch. We should uplift our queens, not tear them down. I love you guys. Subscribe, drink, play, and whatever. Bye.
Rolls Royce pull up, black boy hop out. Shout out to my mother and my father, they will pull out. MSG sell out, fuck these niggas yap out. Whips on whips, my ancestors got the backside. 24500 stacks for the hood. Call me lumberjack, cause I wish a nigga would. Where I do it like I this, and wish a nigga could. Face they ain't getting people like they should. Niggas ain't really on the type of shit he on.